is an untapped potential application for the change grid in your personal life. You know, we got to get you using your online personal change grid. So if I said to you guys right now, how long has it been since you went and accessed your personal change grid? How many of you could say it's within the last week?
What's
Anybody?
my password?
Yeah, there you go. All right. And so I thought I'm going to show you guys how to get to your online ChangeWorks account. So you're just going to go to changeworksystem.com. That's our main website. It is. It probably will stay that way for the rest of the time I'll know you. And what you want to do is click on System Access. If you scroll down a little bit further, you can click here as well and get to System Access. Yeah, okay, anyway, click on System Access. It's going to ask you to log in using your credentials. Now, all of you that are on the calls that we've been doing up to now are either already licensed to use all the stuff that we have, or I decided to grandfather, I think, one person. So we'll see whatever it is. My point is, you guys should have fully functioning ChangeWorks system accounts, and the way that you get to it is by using your username, which is by default your first name and last name.
No
As
spaces, no dots.
no capital letters, no spaces, no dots, no hyphens, first name, last name, all slammed together, all lowercase. And your password, until you change it, is password, all lowercase. So you should be able to get into the system just by that alone. All right. Now, if you can't, send me an email as soon as we're done, and we can take a closer look at it there. Now, I logged in as the Oracle of the self account because that's where these profiles are that we've been looking at. But this is my personal change grid. All you do is you go to your dashboard, and the first thing under the dashboard is my personal change grid. I don't remember if the developers finished doing it, but I had originally said I wanted them to ghost all the rest of these. You could still see them, but they'd be ghosted. And obviously you guys wouldn't have an admin tab there. So everything's under dashboard, my personal change grid. So far, you guys can duplicate what I've shown you, yes? Not that you're doing it right now, but you can duplicate it, yes.
Yes.
Now, then you're going to be presented with an activity list that'll start off obviously blank. And you're going to click on add activity. It might default to having one ready to go for you, but whatever, you click on add activity if it's not there. And that's where you would type in whatever the activity happens to be. Now, very different than creating a ChangeWorks profile for another person, a client, or doing a group profile, these drop downs over to the right are extremely different. In the other ways of using the change grid, what you would be putting in here is the ideal location. So where should this be plotting on the change grid? And we've done that lots of times where you go in here and you put in the ideal size, ability, challenge, importance, ratings. That's what normally happens. That does not happen with your personal change grid. Instead, on your personal change grid, you can immediately put in your ratings on something. And that means when you bring this up, if there's already an activity list, you can go in and update these ratings to see where they fall on the change grid. So obviously this was just my normal stuff. Okay, yeah, working out, whatever. Anyway, you can just keep populating activity after activity after activity. You can go in and put in your ratings. You can delete it if the line item is gone for good. As I said on several occasions, a lot of people use their personal change grid as their to-do list. And so they just come and start populating this with everything that's on their to-do list for the day. Populate, 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 and then they can go in here and throw in what's my ability, what's the challenge. Because the great thing is that by using your personal change grid, as your to-do list, it's not only going to serve you as well as a to-do list serves you, it's going to predict for you the likelihood that you're going to get around to doing that activity.
Hmm.
So you can manage yourself more effectively beforehand. Remember, a change grid answers 4 questions. Anyone know what those questions are? Throw it out. Anybody? 4 questions the change grid is designed to answer. Number 1, how ready is this person to do whatever it is that activity is all about? The second question, how engaged are they in doing it? The third question, how likely are they to follow through and actually get it done? And the fourth question is, what type and level of support are they going to need to get themselves on track and keep them on track? Now, when we're applying this to self, the same thing holds true. The change grid is going to tell me how ready I am to perform that activity. It's going to tell me how engaged I am in doing it, or likely to be based on where I plot on the engagement rings. It's going to tell me the likelihood of me following through and getting it all done. And it's going to tell me what I'm going to need to do for myself to get myself on track to get whatever it is done. Maybe if you realize you're plotting down an apathy about an activity, you go, the only way that's going to get done is if I put some accountability on it. And so I'm going to make this accountable. I'm going to get this done before I get anything else done. Always, I learned this in the gym. Whatever your least favorite body part is to work out, you must work out first. So otherwise, what do you think the likelihood is of you getting around to doing that by the end of your workout?
Hmm.
Yep.
Yep. Can you say those 4 questions again?
Yeah, the 4 questions a change grid is designed to answer are: number 1, how ready is this person to do whatever it is that activity happens to be?
Okay.
The
And
second
engage.
question is, how engaged are they in doing it? There are great many things that all of us are more than ready to do that we have no real interest in doing whatsoever. We're not engaged in doing it. I promise you, I can clean a toilet with the best of them. That doesn't mean when I come and visit you at your house that I'm going to go like, oh, can I clean your toilet? No,
Right.
I'm not engaged in doing it. So sooner or later, it gets done. It gets done because of routine, whatever it is. All those downgrid things for accountability is how you handle mundane kind of tasks. All right. Anyway, so that's engagement. The third question is, how likely are you to follow through and do what needs to be done? And that's really a matter of how close are you to the threshold, and are you more upgrade or outgrade? Because we know definitive change occurs in those 2 places. And so
Hmm.
you are far more likely to do something that is plotting upgrid and outgrid than ingrid and downgrid.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so,
Yes.
yeah, yep. There'll be one exception, that's downgrid, creative avoidance. It's amazing how many things downgrade that are very easy to do, but are rather inconsequential. You'll be more than happy to fill your time with if it means you get to avoid doing something you don't feel like doing. So, but I would suggest to you that you've added a different activity to the list, and it is this activity that you're actually upgrade about, and that is avoiding doing the things I don't want to do. And so
Hmm.
one of the ways you avoid it is by creative avoidance. Fill your time with other things
Hmm.
that you'd rather be doing for whatever reason. And then the fourth question is, what type and level of support are you going to need in order to get you on track and keep you on track for getting that activity done? Obviously, when you're working with a professional, whether it's a manager or a coach or whatever, you can count on them to do that. You can hire them specifically to make sure that you get on track and stay on track to get what done needs to be done. But if you're using this as an individual, you have to kind of learn for yourself. How do you go about getting yourself to do things that you otherwise don't want to do? Sometimes people need to have a good talk with themselves. Sometimes people look themselves in the mirror and have a what for conversation about whatever is going on. So there are ways that you can go about increasing your own level of accountability. A lot of people derive great satisfaction from crossing things off of a to-do list, and their big goal of the day is to get everything crossed out. They're also the kind of people who do something and then write it on their to-do list purely so they can cross it off, you know. So people have
Mm,
all kinds of gimmicks and games that they can apply to ensure that they're going to, maybe you're missing information. So again, what is the obstacle? I'm trying to answer the question, what type and level of support do I need in order to get myself to do whatever that task is effectively, to my satisfaction? Do I need education? Do I need support? Do I need some sort of resource? What do I need and how am I going to get that? That's what this fourth question is really all about. On the
mhm.
professional application, the way that you take care of the issues that come up in question four is by hiring you as their human development professional, or us as a
Right.
development professional.
How can you use the four aspects of control in that regard? So, like a person like me, I don't have a to-do list, I have a to-be list, but I find that when I get myself in trouble, it's
Yeah.
because I wasn't as conscious as I needed to be in the moment. And then it's kind of like this after effect where I might have said something that I like need to go apologize because I'm too like outgrid
Uh-huh.
and wasn't just paying attention to my own energetic uh, capacities at that time. But I think
Right.
the four aspects of control are key to that. I find as a centering, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Right. And so let's take a look at this. Where does it fit in overall? If we go back to the path of self-discovery, we know the current situation. That's step one, where we're starting from, whatever it happens to be. We move on to step two. What's the goal? What do I want? That's when we would use those four aspects of control. As far as the situation is concerned, what do I hope to gain? What do I hope to lose? What do I not want to gain? What do I not want to lose? Now you get that all fleshed out and you move on to the next step, and that's obstacle identification. What's stopping you from getting there? Once you've done that, and by the way, you could do a deep dive into that and say, are there things that I am unaware, unable, unwilling, or unsuitable for
Mm,
as far as getting this activity done? Once you do that, you get to the yellow step. The yellow step is where you start to craft the solution. That's where this activity list is going to be formalized. Now,
mm,
it's true that when I take the green step, I could put an activity like reach my goal, avoid this thing I don't want to get. I could use that four aspects of control and jump directly to creating an activity list. So there's a lot of potential activities that will arise from doing that exercise, four aspects of control. When I get into the obstacle identification, I know that removing every one of those obstacles could be an activity I would plot on the grid. I could devote an entire change grid to nothing but obstacle removal, identification, workaround, whatever it is. I could build a whole list around that. But ultimately, I want to get to a phase, the solutions phase, the solving phase. I want to get to where I'm going to say, these are the action items I need to take that will not only be effective, but will be efficient and maybe even elegant,
elegant, yeah.
right? If I've got enough choices. And so when we're putting together an activity list, you've done a good job when you've created a short activity list that everyone agrees was important. All the activities were
Mm,
important. A short activity list that people say to you, even these activities got me thinking. Remember, the work of change begins before a change grid is even filled out. Just walking the path is a tool of change. Doing those deeper dives with the four aspects of control or the four root causes of human struggle and failure, these deeper dives, it's still the same thing that's going on. It's still helping me ultimately get to the activity list that I need to focus on. What are my mission critical activities? That was a long answer to a short question, but yeah. Daniel,
yeah.
feel free, you can just chime in.
Yeah, I'd like to tap into that.
Please do.
Going back to the very first step, discovery. If we go into any situation with a mindset of the solution,
Mhm.
then discovery is we kind of just giving it lip service.
Yeah,
And discovery should, really bring us to what ultimately will be the scaffolding of our responses on the change grid.
exactly right. Exactly right. And that's why when people are doing that current situation, there is an element of discovery in that as well, because what I hope people are discovering when they do that, the current situation step, is what is real and what isn't real. Now, there's a difference between reality and truth. Truth is kind of like a subjective experience where fact is fact. And so that's the truth. That's real. Real facts are real things. So we want to be able to, what do I want to say, distill everything that we're thinking and feeling into a description of the current situation in clear, concrete, factual terms. Um, and yeah, that's not to suggest that people's feelings about a situation are not also present in the current situation, but they are not really the situation as much as they're an expression of the current situation, right?
Mm,
A
yeah.
response to that. I want to focus on the situation itself, so I know that I'm starting from a solid place. If I've got a lot of stuff on my current situation that doesn't meet those requirements of being cold, clean, pure, hard facts, then I'm going to end up basing my goals on some stuff that might not really be real. And
Right.
that's going to distort that. And that's going to introduce obstacles that may very well not exist or aren't important. And what's it going to do to my solutions? It's just going to complicate things and give me more work to do that may or may not be particularly effective.
Right.
So yeah, anyway, so that's where that would fit in to the overall situation. Yeah.
See,
Awesome.
ultimately, what is real
What's
is
that now?
what is real.
Yes.
You were mentioning real being facts and so forth,
Yeah.
and I agree with that. And call it real because we have ways of measuring it that extend our senses.
Yeah, yep. Right. And then
And
we'll be able to expand our knowledge of what the truth actually is. Um,
yes,
so I remember I was told that there were a couple of tests that you would perform to establish that something was real or something was a fact. First of all, you need to be able to describe it in terms of your five physical senses, not six, just your five physical senses. This is how I was taught. So you have to be able to describe it in terms of your five physical senses. The second thing is that you have to achieve general consensus among the population that your description was correct. So there has to be this saying like, not only can you describe it in a way that I can see and I can hear and I can touch and I can feel and I can understand, but you've got the lion's share of the population saying that you are correct in whatever is going on. So part of truth is also an agreement. Not truth. Sorry. Part of fact is also an agreement. Uh,
a
that
social contract.
it is. It's a social
Yeah,
contract.
that's a social contract. It has nothing to do with fact or truth. It
Right.
has
And
to
that,
do
by
with
the way, means
acceptance.
that it's a really simple test. When someone says it's something I truly believe in and that's a fact, I go, well,
Mm,
it might be a fact that you believe it's because
Can
you
you
can
demonstrate
describe
it?
that,
right.
but no, sorry, it does not pass muster as far as the requirements of evidence or whatever. Yep.
So discounting something without having any knowledge of the evidence would be what?
Commenting on something without having any evidence.
Discounting. Well, commenting and
Yeah, well,
discounting.
either way you're positioning it, it's someone's imagination, it's someone's perceptions, it's someone's values, it's all this other stuff that really we know exists, but it's not a thing, it's not an it. I can't describe it in terms of my five physical senses.
Hmm.
That becomes the real test. It's a fun thing to look at because I always felt like there's got to be lots of things that are facts that cannot be described or
Yes,
cannot achieve consensus around. And then someone
yes.
said, you don't get to have your own facts.
Hmm.
right? Facts are
You
super.
do if you're the one who comes up with the facts and no one else has them, therefore all
Well,
they
and
have
this
is
is where they're
opinion.
saying, like, oh, no, no, no. You're presenting your distortion of fact as truth.
Right, right. And
And
that's where it becomes manipulative, right?
right. And I saw this. I wish I could find the illustration, but it's up there in the world of memes. But it's an art installation in a modern art museum, and there's an object that's in the middle, and it is being lit from two sides. From the one
Uh,
side, that it's a cylinder that's just there, a big wooden cylinder that's suspended in midair. From one side of it, what the projection is, the shadow is rectangular because the light's hitting it from the side. And from the other end of this cone tube, whatever it is, it's round. And so someone says, which of these is true? Well,
Mm-hmm,
truth is based on your perspective, right?
mm-hmm,
But where's the fact that's really involved? The fact is that it's neither round nor is it square. It happens to be a cylinder.
mm.
So I thought that's
this
something
has
kind
been
of
an interesting tangent, and I apologize, but I didn't get to finish my original comment.
yeah,
You stepped on me,
yeah.
sir.
Go ahead.
But there's a lot of these things that impact how I mean, this is a subjective experience right here with the change grid.
Exactly right.
It's all about subjective, and we're applying it to our best imagining of fact of what's needed to get to where we need to go, right?
Right. Right.
And a lot of times, what stands in the way, my experience has been, and I've been around this now for since what, '09, I
Yep.
think,
Yep. Mm.
is that it's what's inside of us, those things that you generally tend to say we have to put aside and stay with the facts.
Mhm, mhm.
And those are the things that drive people, that create that internal tension that they probably, you people, some will, but some won't get directly in touch with that,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So I just want to say that I think that's you're making a great argument for the new system that I'm bringing out.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Um, Okay, well, to finish off the change group thing, because I know we're kind of at the top of the hour, you guys can add as many activities as you want. You can collect, you can click a few, and you can remove them, or whatever the case may be. Delete them. You can change your ratings whenever you want, but. And you can save your work, by the way, so that next time you come back, it'll all be here waiting for you. But there's only one personal change grid that each person gets. You can't have multiple personal change grids. So you're populating this list, or you're clearing up space for it to be there. So if you want to have multiple lists, then hopefully you're a practitioner, so you can create your a little bit more robust of a list as well. Okay, but then you click on view. Sorry, got to select some activities near. Then you're going to click on view the change grid. And like usual, you're going to see everything plotted that you put there. And you can change your background image, whether you want the composite background or you want it to be engagement rings. You just go through and change the background layer. And there you have it. Scroll down, you can see what's going on. If you go like, you're looking at this and kind of going like, maybe this isn't right. Let me reevaluate my perceptions for number one. Maybe I say that for my core training, my ability is really a 10 and the challenge is maybe a 6. Then you would say, save my work. If you made a change, then view the change grid. Oh, sorry. No, 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 no. View the change grid, and lo and behold, I moved. I moved, I moved, I moved. So now I'm in power apathy about it, which is actually true. So, all right. Okay. Any questions about how to access or the basic operations of using your online change grid? Yay, nay? Then again, I'd encourage you guys. Yeah, I'd encourage you to use it. You might be surprised, and you can pretty much leave the window open on in a window somewhere on your desktop, or bookmark it so you can go and check in on it. Yeah. Anyway, that's that for now. So with that, then, if there's no final questions, comments, we'll be finished for now. Now, tomorrow I'm not doing the professional call for mastery and pride-based leadership, but I think some of you guys mentioned that you would find that an interesting thing to do. And so I'll make sure that I invite you to that as well. Right now, I'm learning on Patreon the notification system so that people aren't receiving a gazillion different emails every week, but just one that's announcing whatever it is that's happening. Yeah. Okay, so with that, thank you all very much. We'll talk again very soon. Bye for now.